Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you're listening to the Talk Box with Son. You're listening to the Talk Box. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, you guys. Rise and shine. This is the day that the Lord has made, so we will rejoice and be glad in it. So good morning to you guys. You know what we say here on the Talk Box, every day above ground is a good day. It's a day to get some things right that we didn't have quite right on yesterday. So I want to welcome you this morning. We are talking about learning to pivot. And we have an awesome guest that will be coming on with us on today. And that is none other than the fabulous, wonderful founder and visionary of Women Who Rock, a great friend of mine. We do lots of ministry together. And that's none other than Dr. Tanya Davis. So she should be on in just a little bit. But to get things started, I just want to remind you guys that we have to learn to pivot. So I want you to take out a few moments and go ahead and share the live for me. Go ahead and tell your friends, family, and frenemies to go ahead and tune in so that we can get the show on the road. Let me know that you're in the place. Let me know that you're in the house today so that we can get started. I would like to tell you that today is Wonderful Wednesday. So this is hump day for us. So I'm so thankful and that we are able to be in the land of the living, and we done made it thus far. So I want to say again, good morning, good morning, good morning, rise and shine. So good morning. We have my girl again, Dr. Tanya Davis is coming on with us this morning, and we're going to talk about learning to pivot. Well, good morning, Tanya. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? Uh-oh, you're muted.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I feel wonderful this morning. How are you?
I am blessed by the best. I can't complain. I tell people every day here on the Talk Box, every day above ground is just a good day. And it's a day for us to get some things right that we didn't have quite right on yesterday. So I was trying to introduce you. I don't know if you heard the introduction.
I heard a little bit. I was running to my seat.
Well, I just want you to know that I am glad to have you on as my co-host on today. And if there's anybody that I know how to pivot, I believe it would be you. So I thought this is a great topic for us to learn and give our experience. And before we get into that, I always say that if you don't know something, you can't operate in it. So I wanted to tell the definition of learning, because learning is lessons, life lessons. And I wanted to tell what pivot is. That way we can teach and talk on learning to pivot if we know what it is to learn and we know what it is to pivot. So learning in regards to life is lessons, and to pivot is sometimes to completely change the way we do things, completely, or at least a swivel or a spin. So in life, we have to learn to pivot. So what do you know about pivoting today, Dr. Davis?
Well, I'm just going to give you a recent pivot. I mean, I've been pivoting all my life. Because, so many things, challenges come your way, trials and tribulations. And I've learned from the best, which is you. I always go with Ty Tribute. We only get one night, and that's biblical. Weeping may endure for a night, joy come in the morning. And we have to do that, most times. I mean, if we stay there, then what do? We stay in the mess, right? Yeah. And so if you could just let it out, get it out, cry it out, be mad, be sad, whatever that is, and then know that the next day joy comes in the morning. That's a pivot right there. Yeah. I've seen a lot of lives, even over the years here in Nashville. And I can go with Josh Monday, who in the tornado, he had a club and he had to pivot. Now he has Pivot Technology School. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just stay in the mess and just think about what was. You got to move forward. Amen.
I always say, stop looking at what has left your life. Like that man left me, that woman left me, my job left, my car is gone. Stop looking at what has left your life and hang on to what is right. But one thing that I've learned too in pivoting, a lot of times God have already told us that the season was over in something. And so tragedy has to come in order to make us pivot, in order to make us do something different. And we have to look at things as blessings and not curses.
Yes.
Sometimes we can get all bent out of shape because things happen to us. But if we realize that God is the author and the finisher of your faith, and you already trusting God in everything, then God just know he can trust you in trouble.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, you gotta have that mindset too. You gotta have a mindset to trusting God and believing the entire word, and I know a lot of people, and I know there's many out there that you may know that word, but don't do that word, right. That hear that word and ignore the word. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you get into the mindset of trusting God and the word, and that's a lot of faith to have, but he only said you had to have as small as a mustard seed, right? And so right. If you could just move on that and not even in your own understanding, because our understanding, we probably won't even understand the positions we're in or the tasks or the turns or the roles that he take us down. But if you just think about it, the worst thing you ever been into, and just go back to that and say, wow, I'm still here, I'm still standing, and I got out of that. And so instead of wasting time again, because you did it once, right? And you may have did it twice. But today, and I'm just going to say today, we got to do something different. Because it's insanity to do the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Yes, that is so true. Yeah. And sometimes you just got to get tired of bumping your head.
Come on now.
Sometimes I have to ask myself, are you tired of bumping your head with what's going on? Are you tired of trying to make people accept you? Are you tired of trying to fit in? When you are a square peg and you trying to fit into a round hole, are you tired of being broke, busted, and disgusted? Well, then, like you said, you can't keep doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. And when we are trying to learn to pivot also, Dr. Davis, we learn through a few ways. We can learn through experience. We can learn by studying, or we can learn by being taught.
Yeah.
But in order to learn, we, like you said, we got to be open to learn. We got to be open to something different. And it's okay to get wisdom and knowledge from somebody else who done treads the path before. Why do we always think we got to reinvent the wheel?
We don't have to. And that's a real big thing. People want to do that. You know, even today, and I would say even myself in a lot of corporate America, it's already out there. And so you just Google, you get it, you change it, you insert your information, and you keep it moving. You don't even have to waste time in trying to think about it today. It's already out there, like you said, you know. And then with people's lives, you know, I've lived some of my things that I went through. I thought about you, you know, losing your kids and keeping it moving, or, you know, just a lot of things that I've, you know, had the opportunity to share your life with that helped me. You know, I'm like, man, she can do it. Because I remember the time, and this is so funny because I think about it all the time, when me and Chris came over to the house, you know, after you lost your son, and you wanted to play pool. I said, well, let's play pool. And then as we were playing pool, you said, I need to preach. And you preached a sermon that almost went viral. It got a lot of traction. And out of your tragedy became that treasure, not only for you, but you blessed so many others. You know what I'm saying? So when you have friends like that, or you're around people like that, you need to take that stuff in to learn how they do it. Like, man, if she can do that, I don't have to wallow in this mess that long. I can move forward and keep it moving. Not that we don't want to grieve about our loved ones, but I want people to really think about this. Think about the person you grieving about. Would they want you to be grieving, or would they want you to move forward? That's what you really need to think of. And most likely they would want you to keep going, you know. And so you're sitting there, and they're sitting there in heaven looking at you like, get your behind up.
Get yourself together.
Get yourself together. You know, I had a good life. You know, I lived my life. And then a lot of times we don't even think about we're on earth living all this mess and going through things, and they good.
Right.
You know, at the time when my mom passed, she didn't have to wear no mask. She had to go through all that mess that we had to go through. You know, she was living her life, walking around on the gold pavement, sitting under the feet of Jesus. And we up here crying. No, you cannot do that. So if you think that way, you know, then you can move forward, and especially if you've got kids and other loved ones that are looking at you, and you can take everybody with you to the left, or you can show them something new and how to live life and move forward.
Right. That is so true. Because when we are needing to pivot, it's purpose in the pivot. You know, that's the way that you get out of emotional trauma. That's the way you get past unforgiveness. That's the way that you get past all of these emotional prisons or financial prisons or whatever it is. That's how you get past. You got to pivot, baby. You got to learn, or to learn is to acquire or obtain a skill at something. So you got to learn how not to allow this life to get you so down that you miss your blessings. I tell people all the time, I say it almost every day on here, we got to learn how to push past the problems, the pain, the pressure of life, and pursue the prize. And the prize is abundant living. And we get there by pivoting when things happen to us. And you know something else I thought about on yesterday? It's okay to fail at something.
Yes.
And not stay stuck. Just
Well, you know, we call it failure.
yeah, because
I call it stepping stones.
that's right. Because we look at it and society will label us as a failure. But when you tap into who you are in Christ, those failures, when we go around, and what it is sometimes, I hate to say it, but what it is sometimes, we just don't trust God enough.
Yeah.
Now, we done went and told everybody that God said that I could own a business. And then we go and we open up a business, and that particular business fails. So then we get embarrassed because we told folk that God told us that we could have a business. Well, he told you you could have a business. Did he tell you it was good, that particular business was going to be successful? Or was he using this business, this failure, this journey this way to elevate you to something else? We can look at it. I was talking to somebody last night, and he started talking, and I said, oh my God, this is a great analogy. He said, if the storm was let everything that have breath praise the Lord. So everything has life in it. So that's why the storm rages, is because he giving God praise. And so it might be a huge storm, and we looking at that as a bad thing. But that storm is saying, I'm going to give God my greatest praise.
Absolutely.
So that storm is humongous. If there's an earthquake and the earthquake is giving God praise, that's why that earthquake is tearing everything up, because he's giving God the greatest praise. And so we need to learn how to give God the greatest praise, regardless of what we're going through, because he already knew. As a matter of fact, I do believe this, that sometimes God is just up there going, hey, have you tried Dr. Tanya?
Yeah.
Have you tried Sonya? Go on and try them. I know they good. They gonna rock with me.
We gonna rock with it, you know. And that brings me to, you know, just share my testimony, you know, in a pivot situation, you know. So of course I got divorced. And then my kids, they moved to Clarksville, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away. And Satan wanted me to feel like I got you. I got you where I want you. You're all alone. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen, you know, because first and foremost, I love me, you know, and I'm okay with me, you know, and I think he forgot that, you know, that part, right? And so I decided to make some new goals and move forward. I went to real estate school, and then I said, you know what? God is speaking to me. Everything is going to be new, okay? Yeah. I mean, clearly I heard that, everything new. So I said, you know what? New season, new year, new home. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna sell my home. And I didn't even think about selling the home when the war was out there, where I could have got triple or 4 times the amount, right? I waited. When I put my house on the market, the next day the interest rate went up to 7.25. But let me just say this. So I'm looking through my paperwork, and I realized from the deed and the paperwork that I actually bought my house 19 years prior at 7.25. So really 7.25 was not a high interest rate. It seemed high because we had been in the 2s and the 3s and the 4s, right? And so I said, okay, we good. But then, you know, it felt it was a little slow, but God sold my house in 30 days. But here's my pivot. And so, of course, I know your audience may not know my story, but my story is similar to Sonya's. Let's just say it like that. And so at the end of the day, I get a call. I'm selling my house. I got plans for my money. And I'm thinking, hey, this new life is getting ready to start. I can open up a new business. I can do this and I can do that, and really had plans for it. And I had a call from the underwriter saying that, hey, you got a $1.2 million lien on the home. And I had checked the home on the deeds, the register of deeds here in Nashville, but this was a worldwide search. Okay. And so Sonia does my taxes. We knew that my restitution takes my taxes every year. When I get excited about, hey, you're getting $1,700 back. And I was like, nah, they're going to take it. Right. So I was used to that, but I was not ready for them to take the entire sale. And so what do I do now? I cried to the lady. I told her, I said, y'all gonna take everything I've worked hard for, everything that, and I had the opportunity to stop the sale and say, you know what, y'all not getting no money because I'm not gonna stop. But I had already met the family that was moving in for Christmas. And I also knew that God had told me new. Yeah. Now, this is where I want everybody to understand. Just because he spoke something to you don't mean you're not going to go through to get there. And so that was a huge, like blowing the stomach. I had to take it. But I was in school and I was finishing up my last project, and you had to be on the video to be present or they were going to mark you absent. And so now, even after taking the call for five or 10 minutes, I had to go back to the Zoom and smile with everybody on the Zoom. And I guess I want to say I kept moving forward. Right. I kept moving forward, and I kept the move. I moved into my place, my new place. The view is new, and everything worked out. I started getting checks in the mail.
There you go.
The check came from my mortgage had already paid my taxes and already paid my insurance in full for the year. So they were refunding me that stuff back because the title company paid it again. And so I received a $5,000 check. I received a $4,000 check. That was, it wasn't a lot of money as $200 and something thousand, but it reminded me that God is not going to let me fall. And because I was still obedient to what I heard, see, again, we can get scared and fearful and back up and turn around. And even in the thing about me staying in the house, I felt like that covering of them. I don't care if I regained $500,000 in equity. It wasn't going to be mine. Right. And so to leave that covering that was hovering over me and get from under that and move to a free place and feel free today and move forward, that's what I did. Right. And so again, God will honor your move because you trust him. And that's what it's all about. And so when you pivot in those areas, not staying stuck or not being in fear, you gotta pivot, and you gotta pivot with that smile. You gotta pivot moving forward, because what happened yesterday, I could sit there and cry over spilt milk the rest of my life if I want to, or chose to, but it's still gonna be the same way. It's not gonna change. And so I just want to say to the people, man, don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to move forward. In a couple of weeks, I'll have my real estate license, or I could have stayed crying about the situation. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got to move. I'm in my new home. I feel good. I got all these extra things, my gym, the pool, and everything.
Right.
I got community here on this farm. We grow vegetables over here, and stuff like that. And I meet a lot of people. But if I had stayed in the house, go with me. If I had stayed in the house, the blinds would have probably started to close.
Right.
And then depression would have set in. All those things that happen from a situation like that. And I'm just saying to everybody, pivot, man. Don't worry about what was. Don't worry about that situation that you come into. We gonna always have those. I'm reminded with TD Jakes when he said, everybody's saying, I can't wait till next year. I can't wait till the new year. I can't wait. I don't know why, because there's going to be a season where we weep, and it's going to be a season where we sow, and it's going to be a season of just trials and tribulations. Now they may come in the beginning, the middle, or the end, but they coming.
They coming. They
Amen.
coming. And you know, when we don't learn to pivot, that's how you stay stuck.
Yeah.
That's how you stay stuck emotionally. When Johnny left you 20 years ago, and God got somebody else that's supposed to be coming to you, but you still so stuck on Johnny leaving you 20 years ago that you can't move forward, and you end up missing your blessing. A lot of times when we don't learn to pivot, it damages us emotionally. It damages you financially. It damages you mentally, relationally, and spiritually when you don't learn how to pivot. We got to learn to pivot. All it is God trying to move you into a different direction. And all you got to do is trust God instead of you. Trust God instead of the next person. And again, we learn through our experiences. Do you know that Thomas Edison, who made the light bulb that we use every day, do you know how many times he failed until that light bulb worked? So we got to learn
people
how to,
thinking he was crazy.
yeah. And that's something else too. People gonna think that you're crazy. It's certain things that I've done in my life. You, Tanya, you have said to me, "Girl, is you crazy?" And there's certain things that you've done, like the sale of the house. I'm thinking, girl, just keep the house. If they gonna keep all that money, keep the house. But when God put it in us to pivot, we just don't be in fear, just move. Because we learn by these experiences, and these experiences make us stronger. And when we're pivoting, I know too that back in 2018, everybody thought I was crazy. You know, I flew over to I was in
Africa.
No, but before that, on my birthday, I was in Puerto Rico. And God said, cut loose your past. I'm gonna bless your future. And on the way home from the airport, I bought a big white one of them boards, them styrofoam boards, and put for sale by owner on my house. And so opened it up and sold everything out of it and moved to my office. You remember that?
Yeah.
And so, and people was like, my family said, I think you going through midlife crisis. No, no. I just heard God say, cut loose your past. I'm gonna bless your future. Then just a few months later, after I sold the house, I'm in Africa then. And I come back and I get married in 4 days. And boy, they really thought, oh, Lord, have mercy. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter how many times we fail. We just got to pivot and get back up again and keep it moving. And as long as we do that, the Bible says too, one of my favorite scriptures is, he said, we shall reap a harvest of blessings if we faint not. So that's what pivoting is. Pivoting is refusing to faint. I don't care if the house is on fire and I ain't got no water to throw on it. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna either fan the flames so it can burn down quicker, so that we can build something else up again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how you got to look at those things. You know, we always, our mind goes straight to negative. You know what I'm saying? Woe is me. You know what I'm saying? But we don't never go straight to the from the tragedy to the treasures that are behind those things. And I'm more than sure that, your audience that's on here, like I said, if they just think about some of the things they went through, they always have come out smelling like roses. You know what I'm saying? But how long did it take you to smell like the rose? Did you waste time in tragedy, or did you
Right.
pivot? Pivot and do something different. Pivot and do. When I look at the house, I have more than enough. It was wasted space for me being in a house that big, and so even in that big structure, you would feel lonely. Now that I'm in a half that size, I feel like, hey, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is,
I'm snug like a
this is
bug in the
enough for
rug.
me. Right. It's snugged a little bit where, no, I don't feel missed. I don't feel lonely. I don't feel, I feel rejuvenated, and I just say that to say that most people, most people will not see it, and you don't have to. You don't have to. Sometimes we just got to move blindly with God on our side. We just got to trust him. That goes back to the trust, trusting in God. With all your heart and leaning not to your own understanding, because your own understanding will bring you down. I may not understand the why. Sometimes he's done something. I'll be like, why do we have to go all the way over there to get here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do we have to? Yeah, we're gonna have some questions on why. But look at the results.
At the results.
Look at, I remember even in my days of salon as a salon owner, I wanted the salon so bad. Salon Ice in 2009, downtown on Church Street and 7th Avenue, okay? And that was one of those where you done told everybody. I had 12 stylists that was coming with me. We done trained. We done did wine tastings, because this was gonna be an upscale, spot, black owned. Okay, we had partnered with the steakhouse for a small plate menu and the whole 9 yards. And the thing about it is, when the landlord, his name is Tony Giartani, who owns the 555 building, he's kind of like the Donald Trump of Nashville. He owns a lot of buildings. Right. But he called me in the office, and I didn't understand this meeting at first, right? But he was saying that I want to give you a chance to buy out of your lease. Now, my lease was $6,000 a month for 2 years, okay? And he said, I know this is your baby. You've been birthing it for a while, and then now you want to push that thing out. But I'm going to give you time to make a decision, because you got to make a business decision, And the thing about it, if I had went forth, because the way the economy was and the way it flipped, and then how we went downhill in the whole 9 yards. And I'm thinking when I got home, okay, he is a businessman. He know way more than me. And if he's going to shut down something that he's building, then you need to think about that, Tanya. But in this year, the war was going on. Everybody know you finna. Now they gonna say, I knew she couldn't do it. I knew she couldn't do this. I knew it wasn't gonna happen in the whole night, because I had invested about $20,000 into this venture, and he had given me $10,000 already for the build out, because we had to destruct this place. Okay, but then I'm thinking about, if I have these people come from other salons to here to fail, then what have I done? Right. For pride. Right. That pride that wants to kick in, right? And so that business decision had to come in. Let's get away. Let's not think about the baby that you're trying to birth. Let's not think about, the chatter or the noise. Let's not think about all that. What do you need to do in this moment? Because he even told me, he said, I think if you keep going, you will hemorrhage, and you'll hemorrhage to the point where you won't recover.
Well, listen,
I
Tanya,
heard that.
I'm gonna tell you, that's the one thing I said, that there's several ways for us to learn: through experience or by being taught. In order for us to be successful, in order for us to live an abundant life, you've got to remain teachable. And being teachable, we're able to continue to pivot. I have to pivot all the time. Things happen. I just, we're doing it. What we're doing. But don't be afraid. And another thing too, and we're gonna have to close this out. Another thing too is don't worry about what you think other folk might say.
Yeah,
That's a big,
absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
big. Because so many times I preached this sermon, girl, if I were you, well, you're not me. You're not me. And I'm gonna give you a for instance that I got a spanking from God on in regards to you, Tanya. I ain't even told you. But when I said to you, when you were gonna sell your house, like, girl, what is you doing? I wouldn't do that. You remember I said that? But do you remember I shut up real quick about it? Because God said, do you not remember in 2018, you came home and put a sign in your thing?
Right.
So that's how come you can't always listen to, girl, if I were you, because you're not me. And God have different experiences for us. All we're saying is stand on God's word and his purpose for your life. I want to say good morning to Angela Lewis. Angela Lewis on the line, Anissa Frisbee, Pamela, Tony Capard, all of those in YouTube land, as well as Twitter and Instagram. Good morning. And of course, the Facebook family. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope that we have said something to help you along life's journey. We're going to learn to pivot today. I'm going to allow my guest, the dynamic, the awesome Dr. Tanya Davis, the founder, visionary, and CEO of Women Who Rock, baby, to have the last say.
Well, first and foremost, I do want to say that, that didn't happen. Of course, I went with what I was told to do, what was the better choice. But he still did honor that salon. It was like in 2014. So I want to say that sometimes when we want what we want, when we want it, God's going to give it to you. If he told you he was going to do it, he's going to do it. It might not be in that time. It might not be in that season that you think, because his time is not our time. Right. But he still gave me salon nights that flourished for so many years, that was very successful, and I didn't have to come up with no money.
See, that's the
no money
thing.
To open that one up. And so, God is always about his word. He is true, and you just got to believe him. You got to believe the word. And I just want to say, when it's time to pivot, just make that turn. Don't stay in the moment. Don't stay behind. Don't look behind. Don't keep looking in the rearview mirror. Look forward, baby, and just keep it moving. Amen.
All right, you guys, thanks so very much for coming on the Talk Box Show. We hope to see you on tomorrow, same time, same place, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Today's show was brought to you by Authentic Tax, the real tax place, where we are running a special on credit restoration. So you guys can give us a call at 615-962-7172. Again, thank you, Dr. Tanya, for being my co-host on today.
Thank you, baby.
Doing it back to back, baby.
God
is good. So you guys, y'all have a great day. It's wonderful.